Hello folks and welcome to an inkedependence.com brief video review and water drop test. Today we have JFK from Montblanc. This is a real dark navy blue. The lettering on here is actually, is it black or? No, it might as well be black. It may be in fact a dark navy blue, but it's hard to say. It's a very simple box, says JFK, has a little snowflake on there, navy blue, yada yada, not much on the box. But on the side, I actually just noticed it's got some shiny letters on the side. It just says JFK and all that jazz. So, actually, it just says JFK a million times. It's kind of what it does. All right, so that's the box. No big deal. This is a 30 ml bottle. You can usually get these for about 19 bucks or 14 pounds 80 or 14 euro 80, I guess, at Appelboom Pens, who was kind enough to send me out this box for review. Actually, the box came with ink. Here's the ink. It comes with a little hat on top to protect the star. I said on one of my YouTube comments yesterday that I had lost that little hat. It reminds me of a little hat on my JFK, but I didn't. I lost it on Defoe if it ever had one, but I found this. It was on the inside of the box. All right. It's a charming little bottle. If you like setting your ink bottles out, this is a good one to set out. Not bad at all, and it is kind of, it's one of their taller ones. The Defoe green is actually in a different bottle, and it's actually kind of an irritating bottle, if I'm honest. It's the same one that the 90-year gray comes in. It's like this. So the problem is that it's short and squat, and I've actually had some trouble filling a couple of pens in there because if you have like a number 6 nib, it's gonna be tough getting the nib in there far enough to, like, you know, get ink out. So yeah, it's kind of an issue, but no issue with JFK. I didn't have any problems filling this one up. I've had this in several pens, as you'll see here when we get to the review. And I like it quite a bit. It does change a lot based on the pen and paper you're using, so that's kind of important for this ink. Here's the inside of the cap action, kind of a real dark blue. Actually looks a little bit purplish. You're not going to really see any purple in this one when you start writing or anything like that, but it is there a little bit, I think. This ink is generally very dark, so if you're looking for a really dark navy blue, this might be the ticket for you. Also, it's a limited edition, so get it while you can. There you go. As I said, I quite like the pen that comes with the JFK limited edition. I'm not going to get it because it's a gajillion dollars, but it's a very simple, kind of clean look, and I'm into it. All right, so I've done this on a couple of different papers. We'll look first at the Rodya. Here we go. This is what the swatch looks like on Rodya. Rodya is great paper. I'm a big fan of it. If you're not using it, you should. It's not super expensive or anything, but it does work well with pretty much every ink. I think this ink might be an exception, though. Some inks really need to be able to soak into the paper, I think, to really show off any character, and this one is kind of one of them. It looks a bit weird on Rodya, which is, you know, well, actually, just in that pen, I take it back. When I have it in this, where is it? Here it is. The Schaefer Targa. Let me zoom out so it doesn't look huge. Come on, there we go. Which is a very nice pen. It's this chrome one, but I've had it ground to a Hebrew Italic or Architect nib, some people call it, which is very, I don't know, it's an interesting nib. I'm still getting kind of used to how to write with it. But on Rodya, this ink just doesn't really work all that well with it. I don't know why. It comes out looking kind of, I don't know, kind of lackluster, which is too bad. But when you switch over to, like my Franklin Christoph, I've got a bold italic, bold. Some of the pen shows say it's saying bold, and so I do it sometimes too. Broad italic, I think it looks quite good. But this one needs a wider nib, and it needs to be a little bit wetter, and it needs to be on some paper that absorbs, I think, to look awesome. It's not bad at all. There's a little bit of bleeding and feathering in the writing sample. Not a whole heck of a lot. You can see here. Where's the feathers? I know I saw a couple of feathers. I don't know, 1 or 2. They're in there. You'll see them in the close-up for sure, I think, but not too much here. When you look at the back of the page, there's a couple little spots that bleed through, but really, you know, no big deal. So, that's good stuff. Copy paper test worked well, so I like that. All right. There's a little bit of shading you'll find, and a little bit of sheen, maybe. If you get it in the right angle, you get kind of a, it's kind of, I think I'm saying like a green sheen kind of in here where the ink was pooling, but not a whole lot. So don't expect this if you're a big fan of sheen. This isn't really going to do it. Here it is next to a bunch of other blues. I really like browns, but I also really like blues. I've always got a few blues inked up. This time I have the JFK there next to Namiki Blue, which I just have in this fun little Kakuno pen. It's one of their cartridges. Then I've got Private Reserve American Blue, which pretty much always lives in this pen lately. Really like this Phaco. And then Sherwood Green, which is kind of a fun dark green, and Onyx, just for A little flavor, a little black flavor there. But you can see the JFK is, I don't know, it's not quite as blue as these two. It's definitely duskier. So one of the things, actually I say it here, is that it reminds me of either dark denim or kind of like dirty blackboards. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else. Remember growing up, we had blackboards that would, like the dust would be on them, the chalk dust would be on them, and they'd be kind of this like, I don't know, they take on like an almost blue sort of cast. I don't know, I like it. So that's not a knock on the ink, it's a color that I enjoy. So let's see, here it is on, this is an Appelboom Pens proper pads. They're pretty good paper. I really like these. I use them for a lot of stuff around the house. I have a bunch of them for some reason. I don't know, I think they had like a deal where you buy 3, get 2 free or something a million years ago to show, and I got a bunch. But I use them for all sorts of stuff. And sometimes I use them for ink reviews because it is more absorbent than Rodya. It doesn't tend to get a lot of bleed through or anything. I mean, look at that, nothing really coming through here. Much better than my coffee pen. I don't know, a couple little dots here and there, but what pen was that? Oh, that's the Targa. That pen actually puts down a fair amount of ink, so I'm not shocked. Anyway, it looks a lot different here than it does on Rodya. So if you compare, you know, those two swatches, and little scribbles, I think it's a bit different. It takes on a duskier tone, kind of like, oh, what's the one from Noodlers that does it? Upper Ganges does that, although this is darker. Luxury Blue does it a little bit, although this is darker. So if you're looking for kind of a dusky ink that's you know, still a really dark blue, and actually if you have it in the right pen, you could mistake this for black. I mean, if you look at it here, even in the light here, which is kind of, I don't know, mid-morning sunlight and a lamp off to the side, because it wasn't really bright enough in here, I don't think. It still looks kind of, it's really dark, almost blackish. So, you know, that's good for you if you're into a black ink. And a lot of people need those for formal occasions or, you know, what have yous. All right, let me get some water on the subject here. There we go. Here comes the water. Ooh, went right off the page there. A little too ambitious. I'll mop that up. Get off my paper. Okay. Luckily, this is Rodya, and Rodya is kind of almost waterproof, so, you know, I'm not too worried about getting on the other pages. All right, that seems to be long enough for it to have done what it's going to do. And mop this up here. And voila. A little bit of ink on my finger. You get some of it coming up, but yeah, I don't know. It didn't do super well, if I'm honest. You're going to still have the lines and dots and such there. Sorry, I moved it off the camera. But, I don't know. A lot of it came up. I'm not going to call this really water resistant, especially not in here where there's a bunch of water. It seems to have really come off the page. I think when it dries, it'll be even lighter, so I don't know. Not really water resistant, which is a little bit of a surprise. I actually had to do 2 chromatographies on this one. Here's one, and here's the second. I just did the second, actually, because the first video for chromatography came out terribly. Here's the video. We'll splice it in right here. And there it was. So you can see the ink crawling up the paper there, but it leaves behind kind of this, I don't know, this gray undertone, which is cool, but I don't really see that on here. I don't know, I guess it is a bit grayer on the water spot there, but it's not super gray, but you get all the blues up at the top, and this one, I think I got a little, I just was like watching this go. I didn't take out of the water soon enough. It probably was in there like, I don't know, a third as long, I guess, judging by that. But you get this nice blue at the top, like greens and grays in here. It's a very cool ink. I like this one. So there you go. This is Montblanc JFK. Check that out at Appelboom Pens if you were anywhere near the Netherlands. I'd really like to go to Netherlands. I've got a friend from there, and oh, maybe one of these days I'll be able to go. Who knows? But they were very kind to send out these bottles of ink for me, a couple of Montblancs and that sort of thing. This is one of them. So, Montblanc JFK, navy blue. Not particularly water resistant, but a cool color nonetheless. So, check this one out at Appelboom or at your local Montblanc distributor. I usually get mine from Anderson Pens, where they're about 19 bucks for this 30 ml bottle, and that's kind of par for the course. You don't really see much fluctuation in this price. So, you know, snap some up while you can if you're interested in this dark blue, or if you're just a completionist. I think I'm getting to be where I have to collect all of these Montblanc limited editions, so darn them. I just saw they came out with a new one, I don't know, very recently, so I'm going to have to get that one too. It's like diamond blue or some nonsense, but it's a blue and it's a Montblanc, I'll get it. All right. Anyway, that's it. I am Mike. This is Ink Dependence. And check me out on the interwebs at inkdependence.com. Also on Instagram, I am MI5KE. And then, which is there's kind of a story behind that, but whatever. We don't need it right now. And also on Patreon, if you want to be a patron of the blog and help out with funding this adventure, please go to patreon.com/inkdependence to find out how you can help. Thanks very much to my patrons. Peace out, y'all.